Well, hi. Welcome to Laird Wellness Live.
Good evening.
Scott Laird, Jodi Laird. We've had a lot of interest in our topic tonight because it's so simple, and it is so simple. It's 3 steps to optimal health, and anybody can do these 3 steps. It's not like, got to lose 10 pounds and then do this and then do that. It's 3 simple steps that are all part of our theme,
right,
of self-directed healthcare. You've heard of self-directed IRAs, self-directed retirement plans, all that kind of thing. That's where you make the decisions and you decide what goes in your retirement plan and all that type of thing. So this is what we are talking about here regarding your health. It's self-directed healthcare. In other words, you don't need a doctor overseeing things. You don't need a hospital overseeing things. You can do this yourself. Yes, you can do this. Is that legal? Can you do that? Yes, you can do it. This is your body. This is your autonomy. This is your medical freedom. This is what a lot of the fight has been about regarding COVID and masks and vaccines and all this stuff, is that people have been duped into thinking that they have to go the way of the hospital. You go into the hospital and you've got the certain ailment, you have to do what they say. No, you don't. You get to make decisions on your body. And so you have to be able to stand for yourself. We're going to teach you how to stand for yourself. And we have a bunch of people who, including ourselves, Dr. Lewis, all kinds of folks who believe the same thing you do. We believe in medical autonomy. We believe in giving you the choice and let you decide what you want to do. And nobody's going to tell you otherwise or tell you what you have to do or what you have to take or anything like this. Right. This is self-directed healthcare. That's the beauty of this. So, and the other thing is, unless you have a communicable disease, like for example, when you do testing, if you don't have anything that we have to tell somebody about, like LabCorp, for example, we use LabCorp for our blood testing, for example. If they find that somebody's blood has, Lyme disease?
Lyme.
So Lyme disease, something like that. Well, yeah, they have to tell the authorities. It's because it's a communicable disease, and that's their public health responsibility. Other than that, those results don't have to go to your doctor. They don't have to go to a hospital. They don't have to go to your oncologist if you don't want to. If you've been to an oncologist, for example, for cancer screening, and you found out that you had cancer. These types of places where we can get testing, like for cancer or diabetes or wherever, you don't have to necessarily do their protocol. If you just want to use them for their testing services, go ahead.
Right.
That's completely okay. If the doctor says, well, you have cancer at stage 2, you go, okay, what do you recommend to do about it? Well, he tells you what he recommends. Great. Take it all down. Thank you for the information. Leave.
Right.
You can decide what you want to do. If you want to go back and do what the oncologist is suggesting, you can do that. If you want to mix it up with some complementary medicine, is what they call that, is mixing in some natural stuff with maybe some chemotherapy or something like that, you can do that. If the doctor says, no, we don't do that, find another doctor. Right. Okay? Same thing with drugs. If you're on a drug, Jodi and I were talking about this earlier.
We were.
That if you're on a drug, I don't have any problem with drugs per se in certain situations. If you are having to go on a drug because there's no answer for what's ailing you and it's going to threaten your life, but this drug can kind of slow things down, okay, fine, whatever. Do that until you can figure out how to slow it down. But drugs are not meant to be on the rest of your life.
No.
Medications are for medicine, right? When in the old days, when people lived in the jungle, they went to the medicine man. The medicine man gave you something, you got over it, you moved on with your day, and you moved on with your tribe. That's what you did. You didn't stay on the medicine for the rest of your life. Where do we get this idea that medicine is a lifelong thing?
Well,
like for example, my mom has been on this medication for, it's like a very light medication for a heart thing.
Right.
She's learned that now she's been taking this thing for 30 plus years, for as long as I can remember. Now she's going back to the doctor, and doctor's like, well, whoever gave you that diagnosis?
Oh, boy.
And she's like, what? Like, yeah, you don't have this. Another doctor says, well, yes, you do. And that's why we gave it to you. And the other doctor's saying, nope, you don't. So now she's like, well, I've been on this med for how many years? And it's caused this side effect and that kind of side effect. Yeah. Nothing that serious, but something annoying.
And what are the side effects?
Right.
Because like we heard from our good friend Billy Weiss, there could be, I can't remember the number offhand, but 350 side effects for one single drug.
Exactly. And then when you take 2 drugs, it's not 350 plus 350, it is exponential. It is a synergy. When they have two things, like 1 plus 1 equals 3, when you're talking about synergy, right? The two make a sum greater than the two would, I forget how you say that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Right. So 1 plus 1 equals 3. So 350 and 350, those two drugs may cause 800 side effects.
And that doesn't mean you get all 800. That means there are possibly 800 side effects for 2 drugs. And you may have 7 of them, which may lead to another drug, which is the snowball effect.
Right. Yeah. Then you're all of a sudden you're on 6, 7 drugs, right? Like the average American is on a handful of drugs. Like I forget what the number is, but it's like 3 or 4 at least. I'm happy to say I'm not on any. Thank you very much.
Right.
Neither are you.
Neither am I.
So that's very good. Neither are our kids. Praise God. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you are in that same boat. And we want to help to keep you in that same boat. That's the whole point of this thing tonight. 3 steps to optimal health. Okay. So self-directed healthcare. I like to coin that term. I'm sure it's been coined before, but I like to claim it.
Okay, you can.
I'm going to claim it tonight, okay? So self-directed healthcare, that's what we want for you. So here's how you do it. That's what this whole thing is about tonight, all right? So step 1 in self-directed healthcare is this right here. You got to test, okay? You have to test to know what's going on. Now, whether you do that with your, like we mentioned earlier, your oncologist, your regular GP, or your general practitioner, your family doctor, whoever, you've got to do testing, okay? You've got to test to know what's going on. If you don't test, you're guessing, which is what Dr. Lewis always says, right? If you're not testing, you're guessing. Is that what he says?
He says, don't guess. Test.
Don't guess, test. That's even more succinct. I like that. Don't guess, test, right? Test. For example, you think, and we've run into this a ton of times. We tell people, well, your vitamin D level is extremely important for your immune health, for your bone health, for all kinds of things. It's like very useful throughout the body. And people go, I'm fine. I get about 10 minutes of sun every day, and I go for walks. I walk my dog, and lo and behold, we get their blood tests back, and they're way down in the basement as far as vitamin D level goes. And it's like, wow, why is that? Mm-hmm. And so there's this snowball effect, like you said just a little while ago. And see, that's why it matters what you test, because, we have markers that others don't.
Right.
For example, let me just show you.
Well, here's the thing. Let me just say this.
Go ahead.
I get calls, so many calls every single day from people who are not feeling well. They could have taken the jab, not taken the jab. They could, have had COVID, not have COVID. They're tired. Their heart is racing. I mean, you name it. I've heard all about it. Mm-hmm. And they're coming to me and asking me, what is it and what should I do? Well, first of all, I'm not an MD, so I can't give you advice. But second of all, unless we test, we really don't know what it is. It could be this, it could be that, mm-hmm. It could be a pathogen, it could be your teeth, it could be, my goodness, it could be your cholesterol, it could be your sugars way out of control. We just don't know until we test, and that's when we can make, some suggestions after we test, mm-hmm. and look at it and put the pieces of the puzzle together. Right,
putting the pieces of the puzzle together. We're going to talk about more about that in a second. So these tests that we're doing, some doctors may do some of them, and others may do others. But Dr. Lewis has put together this huge bundle of tests, which is like, oh my gosh, this thing is worth what, $1,200 plus if you were to go and get each individual test?
Each individually, absolutely.
Right. And so, but because he does it for everybody kind of as a flagship test that everybody should do before you go off and do specific this or specific that, I mean, it's super cheap. It's less than a third. I think it's like $300.
Yeah.
$300 and some dollars. $319. And then if you add in some extra markers regarding the thickness of your blood and whether you've had an effect from COVID, that kind of thing, it's $445. But still, you're getting about $1,200, $1,500 worth of tests here for $300, $400 because he gets them at a volume. He does it so often for folks that we can offer it to you for a heck of a lot less than that. So you're getting this massive test.
And a 1 hour consult.
Never mind. I mean, you're usually going to pay $300, $400 for that to have a professional 1 hour consult. Like, come on. Yep. So here's what you get. I won't go through them all, but listen, look at this. It's crazy. All kinds of stuff in here. Your TSH, your vitamin D, all of your white blood cell markers, all kinds of things in your magnesium, your calcium, your C-reactive protein, Your neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio, you see on the far right side there near the bottom in the bold type, NLR, the neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio, that is a huge marker that practically no MDs look at to determine your risk of developing disease. And that's something else I want to talk about here. So these tests determine your risk of developing a disease. Okay, this is true prevention.
Right.
You talk about going for a colonoscopy as prevention, or a prostate exam for prevention, or a mammogram for prevention. That's not prevention.
You know what?
You know
Come
what?
to think of it, not even a physical is prevention.
No.
You go in there, okay, unless you're getting like a pap smear and something like that, that's actually physical. You go in to get your physical, they pop a few things here and there, look in your ears, look in your eyes. That's not nearly the prevention that we're talking about with this blood test.
And not to mention, like Dr. Lewis says, it's once a year.
Right.
What good is that going to do once a year? You go in there for 10 minutes out of your however many minutes in a year. My goodness. So here's the thing. This is why these things are not prevention. Because what are you doing a colonoscopy, a prostate exam, or a breast exam to do? You're looking to find something.
Yeah.
It's a yes or a no question. Right. It's not prevention. It's like it's a detection.
Right.
You are detecting whether or not you have it, yes, or you don't have it, no. Well, wouldn't you like to know your risk of said things before you ever get to that appointment?
Right.
I would. That's what these tests are all about. Dr. Lewis has developed this algorithm that tells you your risk. So basically, it's like he takes like 5 of the most telling markers for heart disease, another 5 of the most telling markers for blood disorders or stroke or things like this, or diabetes. So you look at those, and those are all part of that 55 biomarkers. So different combinations of different things. No one, I promise you, is looking at things from that perspective. And that's another thing. It doesn't just matter what you test. It matters who reads them, first of all. Who reads your test? He's going to see correlations other folks don't see, like you said. Right. These correlations between these different markers. Oh, because you have X, Y, and Z, that means this over here. MDs are not going to look at that. They're going to look at, it's like there are certain things like, well, your white blood cell count is up and your C-reactive protein is up. By the way, C-reactive protein, not many doctors do. If your doctor does, great, you've got a good one. So C-reactive protein and white blood cell total count, WBC. If those are both up, you have a bacterial infection. What? How do you know that? Because experience has told us these markers tell us there is a bacterial infection. Where did the bacterial infection come from? Do you have a root canal? What? A root canal? Yes, a root canal.
Yeah.
See, these correlations, no one is telling you. So we're crossing dental, dental with medical and everything in between to let you know what's going on. And that's the type of team you're dealing with here. It's Jodi and me, Dr. Lewis, Dr. Carter, Dr. Lokensgaard is coming on board. Woohoo, man. We've got a powerhouse team of folks who believe in medical freedom, who believe in your liberty, who believe in you doing this on your own. We, of course, will help you if you want to, but you don't have to tell anybody. This is your autonomy. It's your body. We'll do all the testing for you, tell you what it means, and you can do what you want after that. We're going to talk more about that in a sec.
All right.
So that's the beauty of it here. So who reads your results? We got a team of people who will read the results the way you need them read and will explain them to you in plain English. We're not going to use some fancy word and have this kind of, I hate that the industry is like this, but a lot of doctors have what they call the God complex. I'm the doctor, I have the degree, you will listen to me and you know nothing, so I'm going to try and confuse you.
Not all doctors.
No, some doctors are like that and I hate that. So I explain it in a layman's terms.
Yeah, speaking to you in such a way that obviously using a lot of big words too.
Yep.
That
or that if you don't do it my way, you're dead. Yeah. No. There are lots of options. We are going to open that door and let you decide what your best options are. We will help you chase down whatever way you want to take care of whatever's going on. And hopefully there's nothing going on. But also how you interpret the results also matters. At the bottom right side, I wish I had a picture of it, I don't, of every LabCorp blood test, there's something called a reference interval. And those reference intervals are the point at which they say that you are in range or you're out of range. So if you have a high or a low marker, you've seen that, right? A little red flag, or it has a H or an L in bold type to tell you, oh, you're out of range. And then people freak out going, oh no, I'm out of range. What am I going to do? Right. but you don't need to. Now, we take those reference intervals and we say, yeah, that keeps a person alive. It doesn't mean you're well. Like, for example, this is what a reference interval is like. So the reference interval for a human temperature is 98.6 degrees to say like 104, 105. As long as you're in between there, you're good. That's what a reference interval tells you in mainstream medicine. And you'd go, well, wait a second. If I've got a temperature of 102, I'm starting to get a little concerned and maybe thinking I need to call the hospital or something, or go do something about this. And that's what we're here to say is like, that's right. It matters where you are between that 98.6 and 104. You know, reference intervals for all kinds of things like cholesterol and GFR and white blood cell count and neutrophils and lymphocytes, all these different things. They have this huge wide range on a regular blood test. Insulin, for, oh boy, that's a good one. That, yes, you're alive if you're within those parameters, but they're based on public health numbers. So in other words, tons of people have had the test that you just had, and where the averages lie, that's where they have the reference interval. Right. Well, let's look at America, folks. Most of America is not as healthy as you and I are. So do you really want to be lumped in with everybody else and told, yeah, we know you're 400 pounds overweight, but you're healthy? Right. Nuh-uh. So we take those reference intervals and we do this. We are much more fussy with, okay, this may keep you alive, but this is what we really want you to be in to be well. Optimal. And very few people fall within that. You might say, well, come on, isn't that impossible to achieve? No, it's not. And this is the point. We want you to get as close to that as possible because that means you're doing well. My mother, for example, I just used her for an example a little while ago. Mom, I hope you're okay with this. Anyway, she sent me a blood test she did in Canada a little while ago. Yeah. Mom is very, very, very careful to do everything that she knows to do. She's followed advice from Jodi and me years ago. Dad and her both did. And their health improved greatly because of it. Right. And now I look at Mom's blood test and I told her, and I'm totally serious, she's 83 years old. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that blood test and I said, Mom, this is the blood test of someone half your age in perfect health. Like the blood test or the blood markers that she had were so incredible. I would never guess it was from an 83-year-old woman if you didn't tell me. It was unreal. And so that is an example of someone taking care of themselves. Now, can something happen to us day to day? Well, sure. But let's try and be as well as we can until that time comes. Right. Why would you want to be sick for the last few years of your life or whatever? I mean, be well every day. Right. Why not, right? Okay, so that's what you have to do. You have to test to figure out where you are. Now, when you test, I wanted to show you this as well. This is something we give you if you test with us. This is called a CDA, a chronic disease
health assessment.
Health assessment. Assessment. That's what the A is.
Chronic
Assessment.
disease assessment, CDA.
Yeah. Now, I'm not giving out any secrets here because this is my test result. I don't care if you see it. So this is me. I was given a CDA grade of A because I'm trying to do a lot of things right. And so you're given a letter grade just like in school. So I got an A. And so there are 130 some questions. By the time you get to the end of this thing, it's a line, what do you see there on the left? 138, something like that. Yeah. So there's a lot of questions. We ask you everything under the sun. Do you have root canals, for example, that we talked about earlier? Do you have cats? Have you ever lived in a house with mold? Were you around lead paint as a kid? Have you ever been in contact with mercury? What's your oral health like? Right. What does your dad have? What does your aunt have? Do you have any cats that climb on the furniture? Like all kinds of stuff to find out where you are. And so we use this to determine your chronic disease assessment. So this is phase one of what we do. We do this and then we do an actual blood test. So it's a questionnaire, a blood test, and then we get a real good idea of what's going on.
Disclaimer, you may get an F and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not really where your health is at. It's more like certain risks. For instance, if you say you never ever go in the sun and you don't take vitamin D, that's going to be a...
Right. Or if you take too many supplements, or if you take a medication for something.
Or if you have root canals.
Or if you have root canals. Doesn't mean there's a problem.
No. And it just means we have something to work on it. So it doesn't matter about your grade. We can always get it better. It's just kind of a starting point.
Right. And it makes us look at, okay, you've got a root canal. Okay. You seem fine. You're healthy. You're not overweight. You eat really good. And then if we get the blood test and, there's a marker of bacterial infection.
Right.
And then we go back to the questionnaire going, wait a minute, you've got a root canal, right? Let's check that out. There's a special thing you can do, for example, regarding the root canal. There's something called a cone beam x-ray. It's basically an MRI for your mouth. And it shows you things deep inside that you're not going to see on a regular x-ray. And lo and behold, more often than not, if people have multiple root canals, one of them's causing an issue that showed up in the blood. How about that?
I'll tell my story about my teeth a little later on in life because it's just so new to me right now that I had to get 2 teeth pulled last week. No pain. For a year and a half, I've just been having weird sinus pressure, but no pain at all. Well, my wisdom tooth was infected. No pain at all.
Now, you had an abscess over 2 teeth.
Right.
And it didn't hurt.
What was
Weird.
going on there with my blood work? Because my blood work about 6 months ago did change, and I'm like, where is this inflammation coming from? But no pain.
Right.
So, teeth, super, super important.
And you are really fussy about your health. I mean, nobody follows a diet like Jodi does, you know. And so for her markers to go left and right, no wonder. I mean, you are so frustrated. And now we look at this and go, I really want to see another blood test in about 6 months,
right,
and see what's going on here, because we've seen more, like I said, more often than not, people take care of issues like that, like a weird tooth thing, and all of a sudden their blood changes. And you know what? We've actually got a testimony from someone named Angie, who that very thing happened to her. Guess what? So she basically she had silver hair for many, many years. She's 60. She's early 60s. I won't give that away, Angie. But anyway, so she's in her early 60s, had gray hair for the longest time. After she got this root canal pulled, her health just let go. All of a sudden, she could lose weight. She had energy. Oh my gosh, things were happening left and right. Her hair went black again to some degree. Not all, but she was amazed. She said, Scott, my hair is turning black again.
Yeah.
And she couldn't believe it.
Well, maybe that'll help me, lose some weight, because I work really hard at losing weight, which, I've lost many, many pounds over the years.
Yep.
But have not been able to lose that last 10 pounds. And maybe it's because I've been fighting this for years. I mean, I have all my wisdom teeth. My wisdom teeth are now
well, you got 3 or 4.
34 years old.
Yep.
35 years old. And, wisdom teeth do... I just learned this about wisdom teeth. If you still have them, they move constantly.
Really?
They do not stay still. So even if you think, my wisdom teeth fit, everything's great, 30 years down the road, they can start moving. And mine were moving so much that they were hitting my sinuses.
And that dentist, by the way, if you're looking for a good dentist, number one, Dr. Tom Lokensgaard is awesome. And if Dr. Tom is too busy, or he's semi-retired right now and he's going to be doing a lot of consulting with Health Revival Partners, and just on his own as well. So he's not in the office every day, but go to drlokensgaard.com. That's DRLOKENSGARD. Lokensgaard. drlokensgaard.com. You'll see all kinds of stuff from him there, and he can get you in contact with the right people. He didn't do Jodi's extraction, but he sent us to another doctor friend of his at the Nashville Implant Center. Right? Wow. Was that fast? 10 minutes. She was in and out, and with 2 teeth. Yep. He was amazing, and he was very upfront. Doesn't pull any punches. Just said, here's what you got going on. You can do it today, or you're going to be back in 6 months and you're going to see me again. So, okay, let's do it today.
He took some blood from my arm.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
Shook it up for 10 minutes, which is called PRP, plasma-rich.
Platelet-rich plasma.
Platelet-rich plasma. Put my own plasma in the cavitations so that it would heal faster and that I wouldn't get infection and cavitation, because that's sometimes what happens.
It was crazy. Yeah, because cavitations, that basically means you've got this cavern in your tooth, and then there's basically this hole where things don't heal, and it's just this little cave inside your gums, and that's very bad because that's where bacteria likes to hang out.
Right.
So yeah, he put this blood in. It was like a little sac, right? It was like a little
clear. It's the clear part of my blood. That's why when they shake it, the clear part goes to the top. They took that and
he put it in a dissolvable bag, essentially, right? Yeah. And basically put it in the hole and then sewed up the hole, and so that antibacterial agent from Jodi's own blood was in there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Just crazy stuff. Anyway, and that was literally done. I swear you, it was not more than 15 minutes that I was in the waiting room. I just opened my laptop. I was working on a couple things, working for the ministry, and I barely got started, and you were walking out already. I thought something had gone wrong, that they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But you were done. Fast. It was amazing. So anyway, kudos to the Nashville Implant Center if you need to go somewhere.
We said we weren't going to talk about my teeth yet, but we just did.
But yeah, but we'll talk more about it later because it was an amazing process. All right, so step 2, what do you do then? You test, so you get the results. Then what? Well, then you got to learn. You got to learn about what it means. Okay, so you have this blood test. Great. You got the test done. You have the proper parameters like we talked about. What do I do with this? Okay, so now there's several things you can do. First of all, if you come to us, like for example, if you get blood tests from your doctor, you know, sometimes they're so rushed, they go, yep, you're fine. See you next year. That's what happened with my mom. And I said, Mom, send me the results. So she sent me the results. I went through them with her, explained why she was doing so well. And that's what we'll do with you. Okay, here's this, here's why this happens. Very layman's terms, because I like to explain things to people the way I would want to understand it.
Right.
I sort of try and understand something. Oh, okay, well, that means that it's kind of like this. And, you know, I teach myself metaphors because that's the way I remember it. So I'm just going to teach you that way. And Dr. Lewis does the same thing. Right. And so do you when you're coaching.
True.
Yep. So you're going to get a 1-hour consult if you come to us. And that is regardless of what you choose. And we're going to tell you some options you could do later, depending on how a deep dive you want to go on this. So when you do that, when you do learn,
yes.
I forgot where I was for a second. You can teach yourself. Like basically, here's how it goes. So you get the 1-hour consult. You can leave it at that. Lots of people do. Yep. They get the blood test. They kind of know what they're doing. They're smart cookies. They got lots of books on the shelf. They listen to people like Dr. Mercola, Dr. Eric Berg online. They listen to Dr. Lewis's webinars every Monday noon and Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Ooh, if you guys want some good stuff to listen to every week, go to healthrevivalpartners.com. There will be a pop-up that comes up that will say, put your email in and you'll get our blogs. You'll also get a link to our webinars that are every Monday and Tuesday. In fact, you're going to be on one of the webinars coming up. When?
Don't know yet. Dr. Lewis has not, but we've determined a topic. It's going to be about GMOs. I wrote the book on GMOs. Literally.
Yep.
I've got a book on GMOs. It came from, I did a dissertation for my naturopathic certification, and I turned it into a book. And so that's where that comes from. It was written about 2014, 2015. Stuff that'll make you go, oh, what? And it will make you correlate what's going on right now with vaccines and changing DNA. It comes from the plants, guys. GMO plants is where it started. Roundup Ready plants has led up to genetically modified humans. Yep. It's crazy scary. So anyway, we're going to talk more about that later. But anyway, so yeah, we can teach you for that 1 hour, which you'll get the 1-hour consult with the blood test. We sell that right now on our website. Here's what it looks like right here. Just by the way, we're going to show you this later too. But if you go to our website, it's like one of the first things that you'll see. And there's the price right there. We were talking about $319, and the other one is $445, something like that, $495, something around there. Anyway. You can choose either one, 55 biomarkers or 55 biomarkers plus the COVID panel. And you will get a consult with me, an hour-long consult to go through everything. We go through with a fine-tooth comb through all of your markers, tell you exactly what's going on, give you detailed notes, detailed suggestions, what you need to do, what you need to avoid, and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So, not crazy stuff,
and actually,
great stuff.
Just to throw in there, for some of our people who have already had the test, we are having a retest sale right now. So if you have worked with us in the past and it has been about a year, then it might be time to retest.
And you can go to Health Revival Partners to do that.
healthrevivalpartners.com. There is a button or a word right at the top of the screen. It says retest. Go there and you'll save about $60.
Right. And is that the one where you can choose Dr. Lewis, Dr. Carter, or me? Is that one? Okay. And then if you choose me, I'm actually the cheapest one up there. So choose me and you'll save even more. Yep. Anyway, so so that's how we learn. We take that 1 hour and we teach you a whole bunch of stuff. Now, you can take that. You can say, great, I know what I'm doing. I've got lots of books at home like you do. I know who to look for online. I'm going to go research this myself and figure it out. Great. Wonderful. Bless you as you go. That's wonderful. So some people say, well, wait a second. I need more than that. I barely know what vitamin D is.
Right.
You know, or even where to buy it. What do I do? So we can...
Or this. You've had your vitamin D done. Your doctor says, oh, your vitamin D's fine. I say to somebody, oh, what is it? And they're like, I don't know what it is. Well, they said it was fine. What is it?
Right.
I don't know. I just didn't ask. You need to know.
You need to ask. Well,
because fine may not
us.
be optimal. You may get COVID. You need your vitamin D where it needs to be.
Yeah. Now, COVID might say, well, I'm not worried about COVID anymore. Okay, great. But what's next?
And not, our COVID biomarkers test, I tell this to everybody. You may not be worried about COVID, and maybe we need to change the name of that test because it's not really about COVID anymore. It's really about where is your blood
blood flow.
Now.
It's about blood flow.
Post-COVID, pre-COVID, post-jab, pre-jab, where is your blood? And did it affect you in any way?
Blood flow, I tell everybody this. They say, what's the number one thing I need to look at in my life? I said, blood flow is everything. Everything. Because without blood flow, you don't have nutrients going to where they need to be. Nothing is flowing where it needs to go. If you have blood flow that stops, guess what? You're dead. Okay, so you need to have blood flow. And the most optimal blood flow is the best blood flow. You don't want things blocking blood flow like blood clots or narrowing arteries or this or that
or blood,
heavy, right?
Blood with no energy, your ESR rate.
Right, your
which
ESR
means
rate.
You're tired all the time.
Do you even know what that ESR rate is? I'm not going to explain it to you. We can explain it to you if you want to do a blood test. Your doctor ain't going to explain it to you because they don't know. They don't know where it comes from or what it means.
They may know, but they don't really talk about it.
They don't really talk about it. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so you can do just the 1 hour test like we talked about. Then, step 2, okay, you get stuck. Okay, now there's something I don't understand here. What can I do? You can go back to our website. I offer one-off consultations if you want. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, however long you want to spend. We can spend an hour, we can spend 15 minutes, whatever you want. Just to answer your question, say, hey, I just didn't know about this vitamin D thing. Can you explain it to me? Done. Great. You're on your way. Wonderful. Now, if you're the type of person that goes, well, okay, but I want some accountability. I've started and stopped diets and lifestyles all my life, and I just can't stick to it. I need someone to kick me in the pants and keep me on it. Great. That's a good reason to do our biologic blueprint program that we always talk about. 6 weeks. We had people doing 6 weeks, and then they just basically took a lot of notes. They took a lot of notes and they took the information and they moved on from there.
Right.
And so they weren't done in 6 weeks, but they learned enough that they could now, okay, they got it. They can handle it. They go on.
Right.
Other people do a full 12 weeks with us. And that's a full hold your hand all the way through 12 weeks to get you to your goal. And some folks, even after they reached their goal, they wanted to improve even more. So they stuck with us for almost a year. Just kept on going. And we can do that too. We can just keep going month by month. And if you do that, we give you more blood tests along the way too. So anyway, we can talk more about that later. And we'll show you the website to go to book a time with me. That's the beautiful thing about it. If you're like, I kind of want to do this. I don't know how much I want to spend. Maybe I just want to spend a little bit, but maybe I might want to do the whole gamut, whatever. It starts free. Okay, so all you do is go to lairdwellness.com/blueprint. Let me show you that. I'm going to show you that later too, but here's where you go. lairdwellness.com/blueprint. That is a half hour for free with me. I will not charge you anything for it. We'll talk about what your goals are, where you're at, what do you want to do. And then at the end of that, I might say, you know what? I don't think and I've done that, saying our program is probably not for you. We've had people who have had, some serious cancers and things like that. And, 10 minutes into the phone call, say, you know what? This may not be for you. You need something more acute right now. You're not in the prevention stage. You're in the, I've got to do something right now stage.
Or, if it is that serious, we can get the blood done.
We can refer you, sure.
And if things come up in your blood, we'll also refer you to the right person. So, for instance, we wouldn't have you doing the consultation. We'd refer you to probably our chief medical officer, which is Dr. Carter,
Mm-hmm.
who knows all about that stuff. And
we have lots of other connections too, because
Yeah.
I've got that the health show. If you've ever seen it, it's at healthawakening.tv with the ministry I work for, Root Awakening.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends in high places there that we can send you to and basically get you to the front of the line. That's part of the reason Laird Wellness started, is because we had all these connections. We're like, we've got to share this with people. How do we do this?
Right.
So that's another thing you can do too. And during that phone call, we can do that too. So again, it starts free, 30 minutes. Just go there. No obligation for anything. Just let's talk for 30 minutes and figure out where you need to be. Okay. So that's part of the learning as well. So again, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, one-time, one-offs, maybe just a 1 hour consult. You can do that. Anything you want. But it starts with that lairdwellness.com/blueprint. Start there and book something. Basically, that website takes you to a calendar.
Yeah.
And you can book whatever time you want. If it's there, it's fair game. Take it, book it. I'll talk to you soon, and we head out from there.
Or send a friend to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what happens? You get some cash back.
Yeah. No, that's not to entice, for that reason. But if someone signs up, we say, hey, thanks. Thanks for doing that.
Well,
So
the first thing we ask people is, where did they hear it from?
Yeah, exactly.
And if they heard it from, say, somebody who's listening, then we can help you out.
Yep, exactly. So thank you for that in advance. So that's what you have to do. Step 2 is to learn about all the parameters. Now, this is the kind of result you're going to get. So this is why you need to learn, because here's what I was talking about before. So look at the first line there, diabetes. Those 5 markers out of the 55 are most indicative of whether someone is at risk of getting diabetes. So we take a look at that and go, your glucose is 93. Again, these are my results. We're not, talking out of turn here. A1C is 5.1. And you're going, 5.1 is yellow. Why isn't it green? Why isn't it good? I mean, my doctor tells me as long as I'm below 5.6, I'm good. Exactly. This is what we're talking about with those reference intervals. We're very, very fussy. We say that if you're between 4 and 5, you're good. Anything above that, you've got some measure of risk for developing diabetes. We're that fussy. We're going to keep you that well. Okay. So anyway, so you look at those 5 markers for diabetes, heart disease, stroke, etc. And then you think, okay, well, I'm good about listening and taking notes when you tell me that kind of stuff. But, after the meeting, I might forget. Well, that's why this is also included. After all of those markers, and there's a ton of them. I mean, I just showed you a piece of a page, but there's a whole bunch of them there. And after all of that, there are very specific explanations in layman's terms what each marker means. There in the center of the page, you see insulin. What does insulin mean? So there's an explanation there. And then down below, you have this green to red sliding scale. And basically, those green goalposts are where optimal health is. And you can see my little blue line that says you on there. That means that I am within the goalposts. So I'm good as far as insulin goes. If I was outside of that, either on the left or the right of the goalposts, that would mean I have some work to do to bring it back into the 2 markers, the 2 green markers.
That is pretty easy to do as long as you don't mind making some changes.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So that's why we learn. That's how we learn. And now, the next thing we need to be doing is to change. That's step 3. You test, you learn what the test means, and then you do something about it.
Right.
See, if you're going to have self-directed healthcare, the doctor is not going to take care of it for you. Many of you watching this are Torah observant or Messianic. A lot of our friends are.
Or Christian.
Or Christian. And you dive into those things because you're not satisfied with the pat answers you're getting from just Joe Public or this, run-of-the-mill big church where no one is personable, and you're thinking, this was okay for a while, but I want something deeper. I want to ask questions. I want people that, I'm seeing things in the Bible that don't line up. Oh, I want some answers. And that's the same thing here. I'm seeing things on my blood test that don't make sense, and my doctor hasn't got the time of day for me. Well, I want some answers.
It's funny because our history is such that we started questioning things in the Bible and in health. It kind of all happened at the same thing for us. In fact, very back in the day, we said about 20 years ago, we're like, maybe we can call our future health program, which wasn't even a twinkle in our eye yet, Torah Health, which it's not that, but the two kind of go hand in hand. You're always looking for truth. And for those people who are looking for truth, this is an amazing thing that we have found and stepped into.
Is it any wonder that people who are freedom fighters, love looking after their own health, and dig into the Bible are all the same people?
Yeah, that's funny.
And preppers, right? Is it any wonder? Really? Come on. If you get serious about one thing, God is going to draw you into other things. And that's the beauty of this. Not all of our health revival partners are messianic, for example. We are, Dr. Lokensgaard is. I can't speak for the other two. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Everybody is interested in your health freedom. We're all of that mindset. We all want truth. We all want you to direct your own care. And we all want the best.
Everybody's a believer.
And everybody's a believer. That's what I'm trying to get at. Everybody is a believer. So we all have that commonality that, you know what? We know where times are going. We've read the end of the book. We know how this goes. And we need to prepare now. That's another thing we want to encourage you to do. What happens if we can't do Zoom calls like this anymore? What happens if all of a sudden you're required to have a vaccine passport to swipe or show a QR code to your camera in order to turn on the internet? Guess what, guys? That ain't going to be us. We may get our internet turned off, right? You got to think about these things. It's getting that crazy out there. I mean, conspiracy theories are no longer theories. They're just conspiracies against you and me. That's what they are. And so we need to just learn now, take care of things now, get the information from other believers. So if you want believers that are into health and what you want for your health, that's us. If you want a believer to tell you what you should be doing with your finances, I mean, go with that believer who, this is what I'm saying. It's funny that in Jewish circles and in Muslim circles, they say that money passes hands between those faith groups like 5 or 6 times before it ever goes to someone outside of the group. Christians don't do that. We just kind of support anybody. We need to be supporting each other because we have a common goal here based on the Bible, based specifically on the book of the Revelation. And we need to all be healthy. We need to have our ducks in a row. We need to have our debt under control, all of these things, because we know what's coming. Jodi and I were just remarking that, it's funny what you choose to listen to. If you choose to listen to the crazy people out there on the podcast and things like this, they are 3 to 4 months ahead of everyone else. We hear stuff coming out on CNN and places like this, and we turn to each other and laugh and go, we knew that back in January. This is not news. I kind of think, I look at it and go, well, what's the date on this story? You got to be kidding me. I knew this in January. Right. So again, this is how God takes care of us. I'm going a bit of a rabbit trail here, but that's okay. If we are connected with each other believers, and we're connected with Yehovah, with God and his word, he will protect us. And the way he protects us, I'm convinced, is he'll let us know stuff and speak in that still small voice to tell us things way in advance before we need to.
He's one step ahead, and that's always our prayer at night. Stay please one step ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's how I think, like in the end times, where if you read Exodus, you read Revelation, it's the same story. So how is God going to protect us as believers like he did the Israelites in Goshen? He let them know ahead of time, I'm going to do this. Oh boy, get ready. And yet he protected them. Even if you didn't know, whatever, he's still going to protect us. But don't you want to be one step ahead? Don't you want to be 7, 8 steps ahead? That's where you need to be listening to believers regarding health and all these other things. And we can help you get healthy. You need to be healthy for what's coming. For example, we told about not being able to get online. What if you can't get your medications? Wouldn't you like to be off those medications? Wouldn't you like to not need them and go, whew, man, am I ever glad I got off those meds because now I don't have access to them.
Right.
You look at Ukraine, there's a guy named Trey Sprinkle. I really want you to look at this. If you go online, he's called The Last American Outlaw. The Last American Outlaw. He has a YouTube page. We're going to feature him this weekend, as a matter of fact, on Shabbat Night Live. It's an extended version, and it's going to be 3 weeks of that. His name is Trey Sprinkle, Trey. He's an ex-law enforcement officer who's going over and helping out with the mess between Russia and Ukraine. Okay. And he takes videos going down the streets of what's been, demolished in Ukraine, and It's scary because it almost looks like a movie set because the cars are Kias, they're Volkswagens, they're Toyotas.
Interesting.
They're the same cars we drive. Their stores are the same. Their televisions are the same. Their apartment buildings look the same. That can come to our soil. Don't think that it can't. So before the brimstone hits the fan, as Michael Rood would say, wouldn't you like to have all your ducks in a row, especially your health? Because what does everybody say? Without your health, you don't have anything.
Well, that's funny because, you know, speaking of all these passports and stuff, and you just said earlier that, you know, if you want to go on the internet, it may be at one point you're going to have to swipe your card, however that is, to get on the internet if you're not vaxxed, so to speak.
Yep.
Well, what about getting meds?
What about getting meds?
What if you choose to not get the jab and you are on meds?
If we are going to have to, you know, this comes to the mark of the beast stuff where you can't buy or sell without having the mark. You can't buy or sell your medication. You can't buy time on the internet. You're not going to be able to buy anything. So if you are going to be on the right side of history, you may have to be a rebel. You might have to be an outlaw, as Trey Sprinkle puts it, to do things a little differently. What we're doing here is a little different.
It is.
You get to do this yourself. You get to take the blood test home. You don't have to show it to your doctor. All of these things we've been told we have to do, you don't have to do. It's an outlaw without being against the law. You can still do this correctly. You can still do it legally, but you need to know that it's your right to do it. And you need to take your health into your own hands because no one's going to do it for you. Our friend Billy Weiss says it best. You are the CEO of your health. No one else is going to do it for you. Think of it as your own business. If you're a business owner, you know what this is like. If you're not a business owner, your health is your business. Is anyone going to take care of it other than you?
No.
You're the only employee. You're the CEO. You're it. You got to take care of it or it ain't going to happen. So that's where you need to do the change part. And a lot of people have trouble with the change part. They're like, but I can't get motivated. I've been out of shape for so long. I don't know how to eat properly. I don't know how to get my butt out of bed and go to the gym. I can't do it. That's why we're here. That's really where the weekly coaching comes in. Because every week, Scott and Jodi are going to kick your butt. We're going to get on Zoom and we're going to say, how come you didn't do this? How come you didn't do that? How come you didn't drink your water yesterday? What's wrong with you? Come on. Right. And we're going to just keep you going. And in fact, that's what, it may sound like invasive, but that's why people have come back to us and stayed on past the 12 weeks. They wanted that. They appreciated that and they needed it. Yep. Very good. Okay. So let's get on to a success story here. This is Angie we were talking about earlier. So this was a post she put up in January. She says, at the gym this evening, I did 15 minutes of both rowing and the arc trainer and then hopped over to 12 minutes of abs. There were 20-something-year-old ladies giving it all at the abs workout, and then they stopped. They were leaving, stopped by my crunches, and said, "Girl, you're killing it. We can't keep up." And this is Angie, who's over 60. Yep, I'm proud of me, she says. You can do it. Thank you, Scott and Jodi, for your encouragement. Forever grateful. All right, now I want you to hear her testimony in her own words. Check this out. Okay, so my video is not going to go forward. What? I wish it would. Oh, well. Well, she had a great testimony. She talked about that and a little bit more, but that's okay.
Well, we can post it.
We'll post it.
After this post on Facebook, we'll post the testimony. How about that?
Yep. And that's too bad. Oh, darn it. You think you do this right. Techie. Anyway, where does it start? It starts here. Book your free 30-minute consult with me, 30 minutes with me. I will talk to you personally on the phone. We can do a Zoom call, however you want to do it. It's lairdwellness.com/blueprint. And you'll get a calendar up in front of you. Just pick a half hour of your time anywhere you want. We do evenings. We do weekends. We do during the day on Friday. So all kinds of times when you're probably available too. So just pick one, whatever you want. And we'll talk about it, see what's right for you. And if you decide after the call, yeah, this isn't for me, no harm, no foul. If you got some free, great information out of it and got some questions answered, awesome. Love it. So just go to lairdwellness.com/blueprint.
That's for the 6 and 12 weeks, right?
That's for the 6 and 12 weeks. Yep. Yep.
However, you can talk about the blood test too more if you
of
want
course,
that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to schedule the 30 minutes if you
just want the blood
already
test.
know you want the blood test.
Yeah. So the reason I say to talk to me for 30 minutes is because those 6-week and 12-week programs are not on our website because there's so many different things we can do with that. It's too complicated to put it as a product. However, this is a product. If you want to just go and do the blood test on its own, like Jodi said, you can do that. And it's the Biologic Blueprint Discovery Panel. And if you do the blood test and then you decide, okay, you know what? I did the blood test, but now I want to do some coaching. I'm sold. I want to do the coaching now. We can do that. And all we'll do is we'll just take the price of the blood test and subtract it from the coaching, and away we go. So now, how does that work with 6 weeks and 12 weeks? Okay, so real quick, basically the way it works is that the 6 weeks has one blood test. Right. And the reason why it has one blood test in the beginning, 6 weeks of coaching, and then you're done. Why don't we have another blood test afterward to see how you did? Because after 6 weeks, probably not enough time to see a real significant difference. There is time after 12 weeks, though. And that's why the 12-week program has a blood test at the beginning, 12 weeks of coaching and information in the middle, and another blood test at the end.
And I would suggest that if you did actually buy the 6 weeks and got the blood test at the beginning, you came with us for the 6 weeks, I would say, keep going.
6 weeks from now, come and get another test.
Keep going.
Go to the website and get that standalone test.
Month and a half or 2 more months, and then get that test to see how you did.
Now that test, by the way, that I just showed you, that $319 that we've been showing you, that comes with a consult. That is, right? $319 for 55 blood tests, 55 markers, and a whole hour consult for $300, $319. You're not going to get that anywhere, you guys. I mean, I had a chiropractor friend to take a look at our blood test that we offer, and he says, "What are you guys charging for this?" And I told him, he says, "You realize," and at that time, just off the top of his head, I was having lunch with him. He said, "You realize that's an $1,800 test. How can you guys do that?" And this is a chiropractor friend who does lots of these kind of tests. He was shocked.
Well, how do we do it?
There you go.
We're involved with a company who does a lot of them.
Yep.
Volume.
Dr. Lewis. Yep. So again, lairdwellness.com/blueprint. There you go. Going to show it to you one more time if I can find it for you. There it is. lairdwellness.com/blueprint. We'd be happy to talk to you. And until then, have a good week. We are not going to be here next week. We are going to see our daughter in Arkansas.
And hopefully go to a baseball
game. Yeah, woo pig suey. All right. See you next time. Bye.